If you want to know how to make your AKS clusters compliant, Azure Policies are what you need. In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know, and we start right now. Hi everyone, I'm Lionel, your MCT and MVP. Welcome to the first video of our new playlist related to AKS compliance. I'm making this video to show you what are Azure Policies, how they work and how they can enforce governance on your AKS clusters. So first of all, what is Azure Policy? See this service as a set of rules that help you manage and keep track of your Azure resources. For example, imagine someone tries to create a new resource, like a virtual machine, without the necessary tags. Azure Policy can stop it from being created, ensuring your resources stay organized and easy to manage. There are many examples, like limiting your Azure resources to a region or a specific type of instance for security, compliance, governance, or even cost-saving reasons. Okay, so now let's talk about how we can leverage Azure Policy with AKS. In fact, there are two main ways to do this. First, by using control plane policies, which is focused more on the Azure resources that represent the cluster design. Just a quick example, you want to enforce the use of private clusters. Second, workload policies focus on the applications running inside your cluster. These policies help you control what can be deployed and how it's configured. Before starting the demo, let's see how does it work behind the scenes. Azure Policy for Kubernetes relies on admission webhooks. They are a built-in functionality of the Kubernetes API. They allow the Kubernetes API to call an external webhook to validate if a request to create, delete or modify the resource on the cluster should be allowed or denied. Then with OPA Gatekeeper, we have a bridge between the Kubernetes API server and OPA, the open source policy engine, which provides a high-level language to define your policies. It means that the gatekeeper checks every request that comes into the cluster to see if it violates any of the predefined policies. So at the end of the day, you are able to have a centralized place where you can push down the policies across all of your AKS clusters or see all the compliance results as well. Okay, let's jump into the demo now. We'll start by creating an AKS cluster using the AZ CLI. First, if you have just logged into your Cloud Shell, don't forget to run AZ login. Let me check on my hand to ensure I'm logged in. Next, we need to register the Azure Policy provider with the command AZ provider register. When it's done, we can create the resource group that will contain our AKS cluster with the command AZ group create. Now we can create the AKS cluster by specifying its name on the resource group we just created using the command AZ AKS create. The command has finished, so let's check to see if the cluster has been created in our resource group. It seems fine. Next, we need to install the Azure Policy add-on on our cluster with the following command. We'll now ensure our cluster is operational by creating some resources. Let's get the kubeconfig with the command AZ AKS get credentials. We can see our nodes via the Kubernetes API. Perfect. I'm going to create a test deployment and service to ensure the cluster is functioning correctly. The simple Nginx deployment is running. If I retrieve the IP address of my service, we can see that the web server responds correctly. Now, let's go to the Policy menu and click on the Definitions tab. We'll filter the policy definitions related to Kubernetes. Let's take the following policy as an example. Kubernetes cluster containers should allow only use allowed images. We'll assign it to our resource group and define a regular expression to accept only Azure Container Registries. I'm creating the policy assignment now. This can take up to 30 minutes to apply. After several minutes, the policy is in place. We can see in the compliance menu that our policy appears as non-compliant. By clicking on it, we can get more details and see which deployment is causing the issue. It's important to note that our test deployments is still running. Only new deployments will be prevented. So let's test this now. I will create a second Nginx deployment, almost identical except for the name, and we'll observe that this one doesn't start any pods. We can get more information with the kubectl describe command. We can see that the admission webhook has worked correctly and prevented the deployment. Now that you have seen how to add compliance to your AKS clusters, you probably wonder which policies should I use and what are the best practices. That's why AKS now offers deployment safeguards, which will enforce Kubernetes best practices in your cluster through Azure Policy controls. This will be our next video, so please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be notified when it will be available. Thank you for watching this video, stay safe, and I see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for dropping by my channel today. Here are some other videos that may interest you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be informed of the weekly updates. Let's keep growing a fantastic learning community together. My goal is to assist as many people as possible on their cloud and DevOps learning journey. That's it, take care and see you next time.